Really? That's funny. Where's this wound? I want to get to Savage Axe mode. Oh my god, that was sick. That was actually sick. He was about to take off. He's like, nah. You're staying here with me. Oh my god, he's capturable? What the fuck? Wait, I barely hit him. Am I crazy? Or have I barely hit him? What? Yo guys, what is up? Moxie here in our Monster Hunter Wilds video, and today we are going over a quick build guide to the Charge Blade. Now, Charge Blade, if you haven't seen, has been topping like literally all of the speedrun leaderboards and charts, and I played Charge Blade as my first weapon through World. I beat all of World with it, and then I haven't really played it since. And some of the changes that they've made to Charge Blade, particularly the like new Savage Axe mode that you can just spam on monsters, is so incredibly powerful. It does a ton of damage. I was actually testing all of the weapons DPS out on the dummy, and Charge Blade was the one that had the most. And so not only is it doing a ton of damage, but I found with Charge Blade, it also just trips monsters and knocks them down so much more than some of these other weapons that I've been using. You're able to really control a monster, and that's great because you want them kind of standing still while you're spinning your Savage Axe on them over and over and over again. You don't need to, like, once you have it set up, you could just do it for like minutes. And so this is going to be a build guide specifically for that playstyle, and the ability to just lock down monsters. We're going to be going over my paralysis Charge Blade. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get right into it. So I've been messing around with a lot of different armor pieces and sets, and, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of things are going to look similar. We're, you know, going for a lot of the same perks on different builds, but I think I finally got the, like, perfect lineup of gear and skills that allow us to get to 100% crit chance on Charge Blade, which is kind of crazy because I didn't go for a single affinity boost. I went like pure attack on my paralysis Ardean Charge Blade, but we're still at like 100% affinity, which I'll break down right now. But we're going to be using the G Folger Helm Beta, the Arc Velkin Male Beta, the Guardian Arc Veld Van Braces, Gore Coil Beta, and the Gore Greaves Beta. This gives us the Gore bonus, which is going to allow us to get antivirus, which is free, like 15% crit chance. The Charge Blade, while you're spamming, has no like stamina cost, so you can get max might and get 30% crit chance from that. So just off of those two skills, we have 45% crit chance. And then with Agitator, that 45 goes to 65. And then with Weakness Exploit, if we are hitting a monster with Weakness Exploit, just not even hitting their wound is going to give us 95. And then I've got 10% affinity on my weapon. So basically, we are always critting on this weapon, which is crazy because I actually wasn't even planning on building like a crit Charge Blade, but it just so happens that Charge Blade is able to use some of the best crit skills very easily, as it doesn't need like some of these other skills that could hold it back. And so this is our setup just to be critting all the time. And then we're going to be pairing that on our weapon with Crit Boost, which is going to further increase our crit damage. Offensive Guard, whenever we do a guard, we get 15% more damage, and Load Shells for some extra quality of life. So these are the decorations. I've got magazine on and attack. I think you could roll, I'm not sure, but like the attack boost isn't really doing much for us. If you could find like anything that has to do with sharpness off of magazine, that would be great. Like magazine, handicraft, razor sharp, anything like that. We've got Guardian and Iron Wall, so when we block, we can do, you know, take less damage from it, and then crit boost for a ton of extra damage. For the jewels in the gear, we're going to be going for mainly might as our 2 stars, or our 2 decos, so we can get that 30% crit chance. And then we're using challengers to get up to max rank agitator, and that all looks really good. Now, I am going to recommend something that, you know, it does, I think, net us a little bit more damage. but it doesn't look as good. And that is actually changing 1 point of agitator out for burst 1. Burst 1 is 2.8% increased damage. So like the most value you get from burst is putting 1 point into it. Every point after that is a less damage increase. And we already have like 100% crit chance. And so losing that 1 point in agitator and putting 1 point into burst gives you like a larger damage gain for this build particularly, but like it also doesn't look as good, you know? So like agitator 5 weakness, all those skills being maxed looks really good. And so that's kind of up to you depending. I think technically burst 1 is the better choice, but it looks really clean with all of those skills maxed out. We're also going to be using the Exploiter Charm, which is going to give us our Weakness Exploit, and then also the Corrupted Mantle so that we get extra hits and more affinity. For the Ardian Weapon, we're going to be doing a Paralysis Charge Blade. You could build different Charge Blades for different elements. I'm going to be honest, I just think you use Paralysis. You can technically probably squeak out a little bit more damage if you're matching elements, but Charge Blade really wants to wail on monsters, and just in testing, even if doing like proper element matching, the fact that you can get so many free paralysis procs with Charge Blade just allows you to upkeep your damage so well. And so I really think you just kind of need a paralysis Charge Blade. Elements are great, but paralysis will be a Charge Blade that you can take to any monster. You don't have to worry about the matchup. And it should work just fine. Now, my reinforcement bonuses are kind of bad. I would want, I think on my perfect Charge Blade, 4 attack boost and 1 sharpness boost. You absolutely want 1 sharpness boost. And because we're using paralysis, elemental boost do almost nothing for us. Like, I mean, it's not nothing. You would get more paralysis procs, but they're not really increasing our damage. And so you're really just looking, because we have so much affinity already, you can just go all basically attacks and then get sharpness boost, which is really nice. If you did not know, there are ways to kind of get yourself the weapon you want. It's obviously not guaranteed. You're at the mercy of RNG. But if you save right before you craft an Ardian weapon, every time you craft an Ardian weapon, what it rolls with is guaranteed. It's like set. It's a seed, basically. And so if you craft an Ardian weapon and then upgrade it, and you don't get good upgrades, then you can return to the title without saving. And then you can craft that Ardian weapon. And when you craft that Ardian weapon, it's going to have the exact same rolls as you did before you saved. So like every time you craft your first Charge Blade, whatever you hit on those reinforcement bones will hit on all Charge Blades, but then you can craft a second one and not reinforce the first one because you know the reinforcements are going to be bad, and then craft a second one and then reinforce it. And if those reinforcements are bad, then you quit the game, don't save, and then you craft 1 and 2, don't reinforce 1 and 2, and then you reinforce 3 and see if those are good. And you could basically just keep building Charge Blades until you find one that has good rolls, and that's when you save and keep it. But I did 6 of that. I did that 6 times, and I still couldn't get a Charge Blade without element boost. So I was just really unlucky. But this is the one that I rolled with. So I didn't make a tutorial on Charge Blade, and I'm not gonna do like a full one now. But I do kind of just want to go over some basics, just because this build is for a specific playstyle. So I think it'd be important to explain how to play that playstyle. And so real quick, our goal when we start a hunt on Charge Blade is to get the first thing that I do personally. I'm not the greatest Charge Blade user, but I try to get all of my files, and then I try to put those files in my shield, and then I try to get some files for like our normal thing, and then I'm trying to get our like Savage Axe activated. You can put files in the sword. The sword will deal more damage, and your SADs or your like big ultimate move will deal more damage, but I don't really use the big ultimate move right now on Charge Blade. I'm just using the big pizza cutter mode. And so to get to that, if you charge up and do an attack, the one cool thing about load shells is we can load full files from yellow. So we do our like right trigger and circle. which is going to be your like important stance. Everything is loaded in from your RT circle, so there's multiple options from here. But if we continue to hold RT and circle, it'll do your shield boost. Once your shield is boosted, your Savage Axe mode will deal more damage. Whenever you're blocking with the Charge Blade, you'll be able to like deal damage to an enemy. So like, for example, if we are just standing here and we block this, well, I guess technically that's a thrown attack, but if that was a smash attack, it would do damage and can proc some of our files. But now that we've got our shield charged, now I personally would go get some files. Once again, where you can just attack once and get those files, which is super nice with load shells. And then we want to get into our Savage Axe form. So to do that, you have two options. You can either wound break, or you can do a perfect guard into like an RTY. So if we guard, I got to do it at the right time. And then Y, that'll bring out our Savage Axe. And then now our like Savage Axe, you can see it glowing in the top, is ready. And from this stage, all you have to do basically is hit circle and hold it down while the Savage Axe is going through enemies. And it just does ridiculous amounts of damage. You just hold down the circle. If you're holding your button, the Savage Axe will hit multiple times. If you just tap it, it just like goes right through like that. But if we hold it down, it gets those multi-hits, so it does a ton of extra damage. And that's basically all you're doing here. Charge Blade is, a little bit more complicated. But honestly, the playstyle that is probably the most efficient and highest damage is very simple. You are just hitting one button, and you can move around in this mode. Like the sweeps bring you kind of far, so if you need to like close the distance, you can kind of lunge around and sweep to the monster. And as you see, you could just stay in this mode for a long time, and it just does so much damage. It is crazy. And so that is our like Savage Axe mode. And then if a monster is about to hit you in this mode, you just hit your right trigger and you will basically morph out of it. And at the very end of that morph, you will have what's called a guard point. And that guard point will basically give you an iframe. So if a monster attack is coming in, I'm positioned wrong, but at the end of that is our guard point, and like that's how you can like stay in Savage Axe. See if I can do it. Not quite. I'm not great at them yet. But that is how you can like try to, play aggressive, but also man, I keep standing in the wrong spot. But that's how you get a guard point. And that's pretty easy. Charge Blade has multiple, but that's the one that you're probably going to be doing from your Savage Axe. And that is super quick, simple guide on Charge Blade. There is more things going on, but that's honestly like most of the things that you need to know for like the Savage Axe spam. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. Just short, sweet, simple. That is the build. That is Charge Blade. If you haven't tried this build, you are missing out, because holy hell, my first hunt using it, I literally like Arkveld became capturable, and I was like, how? Like I've hardly hit him. It just does so much damage, and you have so much power, and on a weapon that is just so satisfying to use. So yeah, definitely a build that if you haven't checked out in Monster Hunter, I really do recommend you giving it a shot. I'll catch y'all in the next one, guys. Take care. Peace.